Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, although strong storms are moving out of the region, local officials say folks should stay prepared for damaging winds. And Democrats talk strategy in Baltimore's Inner Harbor, how the party thinks past laws could be hurting them.
And after an active afternoon, things are winding down from the storm threat. However, we are watching the potential for very strong winds this evening. The details next as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Nearly 350,000 customers are without power across Kentucky, and even though the storms are moving out of the state, forecasters say the worst wind gusts could still be ahead here in the mountains. Our First Alert Weather Day continues. Let's check in with meteorologist Evan Hatter for the latest. Evan.
Well, that's right, Steve. We continue to see the storms. They're gone just about. A couple of hanging on in our West Virginia counties. But the main threat becomes strong, what we call gradient winds. The low pressure out into portions of Indiana is one of the strongest low pressures this area has ever seen in recorded history, at least. And that means we are dealing with very strong winds out there. We set a pressure record at the Weather Service office, or at the airport in Louisville, Kentucky, and we continue to see the effects of that. Again, what's left of the storms? Pushing out of Mingo and into Logan counties here over the next little bit. A couple of more storms there into portions of Buchanan County, but we're done. You see out to the west, a couple of showers, but that's about it. Our tornado watch set to expire at 7. I don't think it's going to make it. I think it'll be canceled early. High wind warning, though, that's not going to get canceled early. That's going to stick with us through the overnight hours. Temperatures remain mild into the middle and upper 60s to lower 70s. Wind gusts remain very active, especially as you head into the bluegrass. We're gusting to 39 in Jackson, 54 in London, 56 in Somerset, where we've already seen some damage. Our very own Phil Pendleton has talked about that. Winds gusting 61 in the capital city, 66 in Lexington. We just had a wind gust of 70 miles per hour in Georgetown, Kentucky, in central Kentucky. Those are headed in our direction. The details on when they finally move out in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. As the storms moved across the region, WYMT's Olivia Calfee has been in the Cumberland Valley area, keeping an eye on things today. She's live now from Corbin with the latest. And Olivia, I assume it's pretty windy there.
It is, Steve. You're right. I've been here since about noon today, and since I've been here, like I told you earlier, those wind gusts have remained pretty strong throughout the day. They did slow down at about 4 o'clock today, but I'm standing out here right now and they're coming in waves for sure. But like I told you, our biggest battle today has been that wind. We've noticed some fallen trees here in Corbin. Crews have done a great job at getting those cleaned back up. And there has been debris throughout the road. I'm actually staring at a trash can across from me that's flipped over right now. But I spoke with dispatch earlier and they tell me that with these strong winds and chances of power outages, their calls are increasing.
If the winds get high, there's a lot of trees that are going to be downed, or if the power goes out, there's always a lot of calls because we do take all of the after hours and all of the emergency calls for the utilities in the city.
Yeah, there have already been more than 300,000 power outages across the Commonwealth. So just remember, if you're having problems here in the region, dispatch is doing their part and doing the best that they can to get to you as quickly as possible and get your power back on. But just be patient. And once again, this wind is strong. I'm standing out here in it right now. So if you can, just stay inside tonight. It's better to stay safe if you can. But I'm live in Corbin, Olivia Calfee. Now back to you, Steve.
Olivia, thank you very much. And Evan, the numbers actually are up to 350,000 now. That number was about 150,000 at 4 o'clock. So these winds just continue to work from west to east, right?
Indeed, yes. We're going to continue to see those gusts that we're seeing in central Kentucky. Those are going to continue to scoot to the east as we head into tonight. I was just looking at the latest numbers. We're starting to see those power outages go up in Pike County, about 1,700 out, about 500 out in Martin County. Lee County is seeing about 300 out. We've got about 5,600 folks out in Pulaski County, 840 in Rockcastle, and about 2,500 in Wayne. And that's going to continue to increase, all of them, as we head through tonight.
All right, Evan and Olivia, thank you for your work today, and we'll talk to you both again in a little bit. Well, those strong winds, as I said, continue to push across the state. In western Kentucky, the winds moved through earlier, and it's still pretty windy out there, too. Our sister station, WBKO in Bowling Green, shared some footage of a White Castle sign. I don't know if we have that, but a huge White Castle sign on Scottsville Road, there it is, that was toppled onto a car. Fortunately, no injuries were reported there. Several counties throughout the region have opened locations as shelters, including Breathitt, Clay, Knott, Letcher, and Perry counties. For a full list of where you can go, you can find a story on WYMT.com. And remember, you can always stay weather aware with the First Alert weather app. To download, you can scan a QR code, I believe we have that, or search for it in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. There's the QR code for the weather app. And there you can get the latest weather alerts and live radar. We also encourage you to download the WYMT News app. There's the QR code for that. There you can find the latest breaking news and closings. Now, if you lose power, the apps will work without Wi-Fi. As Democrats look toward 2024 elections, some fear laws passed by the Biden administration are not resonating with voters. The Democrats just met for an annual retreat in Baltimore. WYMT's Washington Bureau correspondent Brendan Cullerton shares how Democrats plan to win votes.
Democrats gathered in Baltimore this week in part to talk about how they can let voters know about the laws they've already passed. Recent polling shows a majority of Americans do not think President Biden's policies are improving their lives.
Hello, hello, hello.
President Joe Biden says Democrats have a path to win elections in 2024.
If we did nothing but implement what we've already passed and let the people know who did it for them, we win.
A February Washington Post ABC News poll found more than 6 in 10 Americans believe Biden has accomplished little to nothing. Democrats say if people don't know about new benefits of the Inflation Reduction Act or the $1 trillion infrastructure package, they can't reap the benefits.
You can pass as many bills as you want. If they're not properly implemented, if they're not properly enforced, if the resources are not made plain and brought to the public, you're not going to get 100% impact. We want to get 100% impact.
In order to achieve that impact and sell voters on these laws, Democrats say they need to take action.
We can be doing online town halls. We can be going out to people, meeting them where they're at. But we can also direct them to an app that they can use to find out what is available to them individually.
Democrats say they also need to point out many Republicans did not back these plans that will provide money to local governments.
Continue to draw the contrast with Republicans who voted no but want to take the dough.
In Baltimore, I'm Brendan Cullerton.
A judge sentenced disgraced South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh to life in prison without parole today. It comes a day after Murdaugh was convicted of murder in the shooting deaths of his wife and son. The Colleton County jury deliberated for less than 3 hours yesterday before finding Murdaugh guilty of killing his 22-year-old son Paul with a shotgun and his 52-year-old wife Maggie with a rifle on June 7, 2021. During the sentencing, Murdaugh told the judge he's innocent.
Judge, I tell you again, I respect this court, but I'm innocent. I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my wife Maggie. And I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my son, Paul.
Well, and it might not have been you. It might have been the monster you become when you take 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 opioid pills. Maybe you become another person. I've seen that before. The person standing before me was not the person who committed the crime, though it's the same individual. We'll leave that at that.
Murdaugh will be taken to a state prison where he will be held in the highest security section. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, Secretary of State Antony Blinken is calling for an end to the war in Ukraine again, but Ukrainian troops are moving into position to protect against new Russian efforts.
Plus, cooler weather on the way into later tonight, but we got to get through these winds first. The details on those after this.